All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Global Goddess Fest, where men and women are tuning in to receive education, connect with global leaders, and gain inspiration on creating the life of your dreams. So we're really excited. Today we have Hemalaya as our guest. Thank you so much for joining us. And she's going to be sharing about how to rock your life and be the Wonder Woman you know yourself to be. And that's just such a powerful statement in itself. Like, how can we really step into being that Wonder Woman that we see and envision and think about and dream about and bring it into reality? So to share a little bit about your work, Himalaya she empowers with her unique blend of tradition and modern and bringing this into coaching and mentorship. She's passionate about leading women. There's my little dog in the background.
She's passionate also.
Passionate about leading women to find their own truth as well as inspiring a purpose-filled lifestyle. Her work inspires and motivates thousands of women from all around the world to live healthy and joyful lives. She's also the creator of I.M.P.A.C.T, a women's immersion event that happens in LA. So we'll have all her links available so you can check that out, and you definitely want to go check out this powerful event. She also facilitates her work globally and stars in numerous DVDs. She hosts her own TV show, Bali Blast, that brings fitness to a whole new level using dance and yoga. And it's just, some of her work is incredible. She's toured internationally with several yoga and conscious festivals and conferences, including Wanderlust, Yoga Journal, Lightning in a Bottle, Bhakti Fest, and more. And I'm really excited to hear about that whole journey. And you'll see in this little time that we have with her how magnetic her energy is and how she's going to be able to lead us all into a liberated state of being and give us, a little snippet, a little taste of what her work is as we balance our true acceptance and self-love. So super excited to be bringing you to the Global Goddess, and as you're just such a creative vessel and a leader and being a creative vessel and using movement to liberate the soul. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Heini. I'm happy to be here. Totally.
So we'll just dive into some questions. Why do you think it's important for women to get comfortable with moving their bodies, getting into their bodies? I think a lot of the time, some reasons could be fitness or health, or trying to make your body look this way or wanting to be more sexy. For you in your work and in your personal life, why do you think that's most important?
It's a great question. So because us women by nature are completely spiritual, like we have a spiritual connection, we have a spiritual alignment, that's like the first thing. It's like why our intuition is a little bit stronger. It's why we don't have that drive that's in the forefront like men do. Men have this like, I need to be, where we're like, yeah, it's cool over here. But there's a tendency of also just being sort of in the ethers, right? So then bringing that into the physical realm, which is your physical body, then you have the experience of your spiritual self being the navigator of your purpose here. So when you merge the two, because you could either just like be this yogini, like hanging out, like I could just sit and meditate all day long, totally being removed and just, disconnected. Or you could be like, oh, I am in the world leading with my mission, my purpose. And that's the like driving force of me then using my intuition and sharing and healing with the world and, sharing my gifts with the world. So I think the big thing is to really have access. It's not just your spiritual self, it's your spiritual self living inside of this body and then utilizing it, because the thing is, this is a temple, right? We are the soul living in this temple. So if we can merge that higher self connection, spiritual self with the body, we have so much more power. We have so much more connection to things, life, each other, ourselves, you know. So that's what I would say is why
Yeah.
it's really important.
I love it. Yeah, and I kind of think there's like this image that comes to mind of like the dying out of, the person sitting on top of a mountain just meditating and waiting for things to change. And we're in a time in the world where it's like, okay, no, we need to take action now. And especially as females, we're just now getting to be heard by the other half of the population. And so how can we do that in a graceful way where we are being true to ourselves, connecting with spirit, and able to then share it with those around us? So
Yeah, and it's not just that we're being heard now, we're actually standing up and
mm-hmm.
walking forward now, and we are rising. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a thing I say a lot, and with the women I'm working with, is like, it's time for you to rise. We can't do it from that position of like, meh, it's not going to work for me, or I'm not good enough, or all of that thinking. It's really like, okay, I'm choosing now. I'm choosing that I am stepping forward. I am now deciding something and going forward. So I think there is a combination of, yes, the world is listening more, but that's because we're rising, and we're rising because they're, so there's like this
Yeah,
happening together.
I love it.
Yeah.
So in your teaching, you talk about realigning with your mission. So I would love to, hear about that. How do you do that, first of all? And then how often do you need to realign? Because I know we can be like, oh, my mission is A, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, is that still my mission? So how often do you personally need to realign? And maybe if you could share one of your favorite tools that you use, so that way the viewers can get a little practice.
Yeah, and I think that that's a great way of you sharing, like us women, we have this waver part of us, like, and the waiver just needs to hang on to, like, this is like our natural sense of like, because that's a spiritual self too. It's like, it's air and ether, right? Think of it like it doesn't have form, so of course it doesn't have anything to like lean against, really. That's why you have to be solid in your body. But so the question is how to realign with your mission. There's like two ways that I guide women and encourage them to take different tools that are going to wake them up. Like, I certainly have like a little arsenal of awesome tools that like I uniquely customize for each individual, and then like a group if we're working in a group program. And the first piece is always reset your mindset. Like, really commit to resetting your mindset, which is usually in a state of old trauma thinking. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. It can't be me. Or just the plain old, like, I don't know what to do, those like, or I'm not good enough. I have self-doubt. I'm not confident. Like, why would it be me? Like, all of that. It's really important to reset the mindset, those limited things, in order to be in our, like, that's the thing that will lead you towards your mission, towards your purpose, and like, click, there it is. Okay, boom. Mm-hmm. And it is something that, like I said, wavers. We are emotional beings as women, and we tend to move with the tides. Now, I know so many women that use the excuse, and I'm like the first person that will say, I'm like super sensitive, but use the excuse of sensitivity or emotions to then take them off course. I promise you, I'm one of the most emotional people that you will meet. Like, I will cry right now if I think about, like, just, I definitely have the ability to allow and I think that's with artists anyways, right? We are so tuned in, tapped in, connected to what's happening in the world and so on, or empaths and all of that. So it's really important that we get centered in who we truly are. And who we truly are, because you know this, when you were a child, we didn't have that waver. We didn't think like, oh, it can't be me. We went into the posture of, hell yeah, I'm fantastic. I'm amazing. You know, like that little, I used to use this in my workshop, in my retreats, like years ago, because this little girl, one of my goddaughters, said this one day, and she was like, Em and I so great. And she just like came out, and she's like, Em and I so great. Like, it was so cute. So now that's like been the Em and I so great. Like, that's the Wonder Woman posture. That is the like, of course I can. Anything I dream up, anything I want. And that's the switch. It's time for us. So that's the first piece of like really being on mission, is don't let the BS run you. You get to control this, because this is not the truth. So the way to do that is by committing yourself. You find a good teacher, tools, practices, things that will keep you on par, keep you in check, because we're always going to struggle and bump ourselves up against this waver that's inside. The second piece that is towards that realigning with our mission and coming back and back and back again to it, like, is rejuvenate through movement. You know, it's, again, like we already talked about, like why it's like bring the spiritual with the physical, but like rejuvenate. There's specific like dance movements that I lead women through that really allow for pure connection, pleasure. And when we're in that zone, it's effortless, but it's also like clear. You know, those times when we're like, I don't know what to do, or, you know, like feeling foggy or pulled in all sorts of directions. That is one of my, like, so reset the mindset, rejuvenate with movement. And then I'm always back home to my mission. I'm always back home to my purpose. And then I decide again, here I go. Here I go. I commit. I've decided, I'm committed. Here I go.
I love that. So what would you say, you know, in that whole process, what would be the biggest block that you see the women that you work with having, you know, to like really being able to do that work and to really be able to like experience that sort of spiritual connection?
There's a couple of things. Our own limited capacity, like we have already like something happened when we were children, we had like this limitless ability, right? But then as the brain started to develop, we lost the magical, like fairy, like I can do anything, to like, I want to be a little bit more like contracted and reserved and all of that. So something shifted as we kept getting older and deciding like that was more important to be like this, like, yeah, like this adult. So wait, what was your question again? Just so I can get it right.
Just what do you think is like the biggest block that most women are dealing with, you know, and maybe it's like a hidden block that people don't usually want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, one of them is our own drama making emotional entity. I call it like the entity that lives and hovers around. Yeah. She's the one that's like the rebel. She's the rebellious teenager that, nothing's going to work. I'm going to prove. She's the one that proves your story right. Constantly. She's the one, and she's not known because she's like shadowy. She's like hidden. Because you don't even want to know her because she's nasty. She's like, yeah, so she's sometimes the one that ends up running, because you know, with a lot of the women that I work with, we have this in common, is that we felt like we didn't fit in our families. We didn't fit in with our, like, maybe you didn't feel like, hey, this is the path for me. I feel different from my family. I need to leave, or I need to, I just feel like I'm from somewhere else, you know, that kind of feeling. So it's really, yeah, see, I'm sorry. I keep losing my train of thought because I like go off on one tangent. Um, yeah. Okay, where am I going? Hold on. Okay, what was the question again? If you just bring me back to the question, I will get back on track. I just want to make sure I answer the question. Otherwise,
yeah, I mean, you have been, but like the blockage, you know, that women have just from like even diving into doing this work and then getting that spiritual alignment.
Right, exactly. So that's where I was going with it, is that drama making part of us that didn't feel like she belonged. She created herself. Like basically she was birthed then. And then she's the little nasty, like, this is not gonna work. Yeah, that, don't even try that. You know, you don't know how. Don't get out of your comfort zone. You're not safe. You know, like that's a part of what she plays, is you're not safe. And then that comes out in fears, and that comes like, so it's just a cycle. She creates this cycle. And she's the drama making machine. She's the one that like, oh, I'm going to get into this relationship. You know, the one that like, it's totally dramatic. It consumes all of your being and your emotions and all of your energy. So you can't even rock it out. You don't even have that, because you're like, you've already filled the space, but she's the one who's choosing. So you've got to put somebody else in charge. So in my work, it's like activating that Wonder Woman part of us that is the highest self. She's the queen. She's the CEO of your life.
Yeah.
She's the one. So once we're activated in her, like life changes. Then you're making decisions. Then you're like meeting people that are super supportive and like helpful. Sorry, I'm getting comfortable here. But like totally on path with you, in alignment, in like juicy connection. And you know, so that's the thing. I that would be like the hidden little part of us that gets in our way of being on mission.
And I feel like she's still always there, even like when you're in the work, and if you feel like you're done with the work, the lifelong work, you know, she's always there. So like bringing her in, do you like use her and like bring her into some movement sometimes?
100%. So that's the thing, is like, I've been doing this for 20 years now. She is so alive. But the thing is, I put her in charge. She is like in charge of content now. She's the one who brings that out into the world. She's the entertainer. She's the one that like, ooh, let me do that. So her fire is used for something. It's not used to cause drama in my relationship. It's not used to, you know, cause a story or some kind of something with someone or something that's going to be like a big energy sucker. Now she's on board. So the more awareness that we can have in the activation process, that brings to awareness this part of us, then allows her to merge also. And then so she just wants to be seen. That's actually what her thing is. Like if you imagine, like that's what a rebel does. She just wants to be seen, validated, knows that she exists and that she's a contribution, like she can be part of something, because she's been so busy proving her story wrong. She's a lone wolf. She's, you know, not meant to be here. This is the wrong family. This is the wrong life. Da, 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 like all of that. So let's give her a job.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. So you're kind of hinting around your family. I would love to hear, you know, about, so you have are incorporating, Bali dance and some of these ancient traditional techniques and movement practices into this like modern version of what your offering is. So I would love to just like kind of hear about, like, did you used to do that dance? Did you like grow up dancing? Is that part of your journey, or is it something that you like backtracked into and are like, oh, I want to find out about my culture? And like, why do you think that's important to like have those cultural ties?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in an Indian family, so dance was a part of our lives. We basically got together. I watched my parents, we would get together with different families, our own family, cousins and uncles and aunties, and at some point we would cultivate in dance, like culminate in dance. Like there would be a point where it would be like, okay, now time to put the music on and just like move our bodies and like play. And then when I turned into a teenager, I started like just discovering that on my own. I've never taken like any training when I grew up or anything, but I certainly about where am I here in my history? There was a time in my adult life that I took classical Indian dance, but that was just like, for my own spiritual practice, because it was quite a spiritual experience and discipline. It was like a martial arts of dance. It's like really intense on the body. But before that, I think just experiencing what it is, no matter like how poor we were or how good we felt or bad we felt, we danced. And then it came back into my life naturally because I gave it up for a while. And it came back when I hit the mat, like when I started really diving into a yoga practice on my own. A lot of emotions were coming up, and naturally, like something clicked. And I was lying on my mat one day because a lot of, I would just cry. Sometimes I would just go to my mat and cry. And I heard, put on some music. And of course, I thank God I had Bhangra. Bhangra is what I grew up on. And that's the Punjabi like celebratory dance. And that's like what most of my DVDs on my TV show and my classes, like we really incorporate, because it's so contagious joy.
Mm-hmm.
It's contagious joy. So, yeah, that just, as soon as I put on the music and I danced around my living room for like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, right, I forgot, and I think that there's such glimpses in our own life as we grow up, no matter what culture we grow up in, of like the richness of our cultures and the richness of, and I'm very grateful to have been born into this culture for sure. We have like such a good way of being, and has certainly shown me the way. Yeah.
Beautiful. Everyone's getting down. I had some Indian friends growing up, and I'd go over to their house, and I would come home. I'm like, Mom, Dad, why don't we get to dance like that in our kitchen?
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So I know you've been featured on like all these incredible platforms. So I'm just gonna kind of share a few for our viewers to know, like New York Times, Origin, Yoga Journal, LA Times, Shape. You've been on some talk shows like Ellen, Lisa Oz, and the Today Show. What would be your like number one piece of advice for any women that are watching that are wanting to step into being a feminine leader and really embodying their journey and sharing it with others and inspiring other women? What would be that like number one little nugget that you would say to them?
Number one little nugget. Ooh, it's too many nuggets. But I would say, because I've been using really embody as a way to describe your wholeness, our wholeness is like being committed to being in that state of living, like really committing to embodying who you truly are, embracing, having access to your whole being, And that is the Wonder Woman. That is the deity that you truly are inside. You know, like that control center is the mother and father divine sitting inside of you, and they're the ones, and that's who you're really connected to. And then let go of all of the trauma and the things and the stories that would make it not so, or to like prove you're not worthy of. There's a great quote that who was it? I can't remember who said it, but it was oh my god, hold on. I'm having such like a blank moment today. Oh yeah, I am, oh my god, I am like, oh my god, you are lovable no matter what the evidence shows. That's what the quote is, something like that. You are lovable no matter what the evidence shows. Oh, you are enough no matter what the evidence shows. You know, so no matter what background you come from, or history you come from, or trauma you have experienced or are living, you are enough.
Mm. You could say that like 1,000 times to ourselves, right?
I know. I've said it 1,000 times. I couldn't even remember it in this moment. See,
yeah.
like the perfect, you know, like perfect. Like we forget.
We forget. We all do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm teaching this stuff and I forget.
I love it. It's so human, you know, and that's where we're all at. And as you know, I think it's important to keep that too, keep that rawness and relatability, because we're all on this path together. So I would love to get a little sample of some movement, if you'd like to share with our viewers.
Yeah, how much
Get us
time do
moving
we
in our
have for
home.
that, so I know what I'm gonna
We have like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So, do I have time to get some music, or do we just?
Yeah, you can grab some music.
Okay, great. You know, like the iPhone and their new little doohickey thing, that you have to have that little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it is, but I played this first, and then just to get that calling to your spiritual self. Your feet are hip distance apart, and start to wave the body from side to side. It's kind of like, ooh, wave. I think I'm gonna take this off so you can see my body movements a bit better. Okay. Bend your knees as you do this, and then start to take your hips around in a circle. Ooh. And start to make sound, like allow. What does your body want to say? What does it not want to say? Stretch out the mouth. Now this is where you have to be willing to go for it and not worry about what you look like, what it may appear like. This is where you get to decide that you're going to do what it takes to come back to your body. Change directions. Keep your knees really bent as we do this whole circular motion. The Taoist tradition, doing these circular twirls with the body calls your energy to twirl within instead of be spiraling outward. Now get your shoulders and your heart involved. Make a little internal sound. Good. And then reach up a little, stretch out to side. Keep your knees bent, even when you go towards straight. And then little circles with the arms. Flutter the lips. Change directions. So this is the way that we come into full self-expression. So you use the voice, the body, movement together. So shake out your hands, open the mouth. Shake out your shoulders. And your tatas, let them really fly here. Good. Walk around in a circle with your jelly arms and body. Okay, good. So standing with your feet hip distance apart. Okay. Get a little bounce in the body, the pelvis lifts. Now start to rock your pelvis forward and back. And again, hold your front and your back and really notice if you're holding on anywhere. Woo! Let your arms start to move. Woo! Roll the tongue. Lower the lips. And a little jump. So this brings us to that little child. And then a little hips from side to side, a little shuffle. Shift from side to side, arms out. Go into that 2-year-old that wants to play now. Walk it out. So this is where we start to take the posture of confidence because we're allowing the heart to be the leader. There's a lot to do with body language that can shift your mindset. Snap your fingers, clear out your space. This is you clearing limited beliefs. Snap it out. Walk around your space, get that little pep in your step. You got this. You can do this. You can break out of that adult mold that you created out of protection. You don't need it. So much more fun on this side. Good. Shake it out again. A little hop from side to side. Woo! Little celebration sounds. Woo! Okay, take this posture. Hands on the hips. Bounce here. Wonder Woman move. The M&I so great move. Go like this. Be like, yes, I got this. I got this. Bring it back. Yes, 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 I got this. Good. Last time like this. Flick off all of those things. All of those disbeliefs in your own self or from other people or both. Shake it out. Walk around in a circle. Let's fast pace. Running. Awesome. Breathe. Stand. So feet are a little bit more than hip distance apart. Keep a nice bend in your knees. Softness in the body. Place your hands on your womb. So your belly button is right in the center of this yantra, this yoni shape. And close the fingers and then open them gently. So about where your ovaries are would be where your fingers, baby fingers are. Breathe here. This is where we now invite that spiritual self and the rebel self and your higher self to come meet at this portal right here. And now they get to dine together, have a meeting together, conference it, and be in all connection, alignment, and in mission. Take a deep breath in here. This is where you begin the conversation about what it is that you truly yearn for. This is where you decide to be activated and step over the line into who you truly are. Take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. Take another deep breath in. Patience, allow, and trust. And on the next inhale, open your eyes slowly. Release your hands. And come back into sitting.
Oh, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
I
joining,
feel
everyone.
so much better.
Yeah, right? Isn't that amazing? So that's just like a 5-minute thing. Like we can really be able to activate ourselves once we have this in our bodies, once we have this, like, yeah, I mean, this is like my little breaks that I take when I'm in the middle of my creation day, my flow, my work, all of it. And that's the way that us women can powerfully create, you know, and it's really important. It's really important that we come from a pleasureful place and we keep cultivating pleasure in order for us to really feel in connection. Yeah.
Ah, feel so good. I didn't even know I didn't feel this good before.
That happens to me every time.
Well, for everyone that is watching and has been joining us, you're super lucky because we have an embodied meditation series of 4 guided meditations in 40 minutes with Hemalaya that she is gifting to you for free. So the link will be sent to you and on the Goddess Fest website. And is there anything you'd like to add about your offering?
It works with the subconscious mind. It is a guided meditation, and it is to embody your divine feminine. I call it awakening, activating the divine feminine. And that's something that in our culture we have lost. And my mission is to bring awareness back to each of us and that divine connection to the feminine. And so these meditations are me guiding you into really firing the inner critics, you know, letting them off duty, retiring them, they're done, and hiring your spiritual parents or the spiritual beings that are there for your highest truth and self. So it's a real beautiful journey. It's a 4-part meditation series, and you can do it in your car, in your home, whatever. Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, I definitely look forward to checking those out. And I love how you just said, you know, your spiritual parents, because sometimes we just need to get out of our own way and, you know, let those other parts of ourselves take over. So I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. Is there anything that you have coming up that you'd love for our viewers to know about?
Yeah, I've got a beautiful journey that some sisters and I are taking together called the Embody Leadership Program. It starts in January. And it's really for those women that are ready, that have been feeling a yearning. Maybe they know exactly what they want to do, or they're like, I kind of want this, but I'm stuck over here. You know, and they want to step over the line of really becoming who they truly desire to be in the world as leaders. So there's 4 pillars, and I'll just quickly tell you. There's the value and worth. So we really work on that part of ourselves that doesn't value, and that includes money. like charging for what we do, overcoming any like parts of us that are like addicted to the under earning or like patterned around under earning money for ourselves, or the belief that we can. And then the second pillar is pleasure. Again, like, you know, we experienced a little bit of that, but we really dive deep into like pussy power and like real womb activations. And we, you know, some of the more tantric pieces come into that area. And then the third pillar is spiritual integrity, where we really allow our spiritual self to be the one that's the CEO. And the fourth pillar is power. So naturally, when these are all in place, we are in our like full sense of power. And what is power? Like, how do we tap into our own power every single day? So yeah, there's 7 modules in this program, and each one of them takes us step by step in the 6 months. And it begins mid-January. There's live weekends. There's 2 live weekends through the 6 months, and the rest of it's online. And, you know, you could do it all online if you wanted, if you live somewhere that you can't do it, because the live will be in Los Angeles. And of course, like, you know, we'd love to have you there because it's amazing. So if you're interested in, you know, talking to me about that, just reach out. I'm totally available to connect about that. And we can even jump on the phone if it felt like calling to you. Mm-hmm.
Great. And yeah, we'll have all of your links up so they'll have easy access to finding it, and just a little dance move for you and all that you have going on. It's awesome.
Thank you, love. Thank you. You're doing great too. I love this.
You.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us at the Global Goddess Fest, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.